Howdy guys, glad to see you guys came back. Alright, so this video is to work with alongside and supplement the lesson for this week, which is the green screen lesson. So here we have a picture of my friend Trent, who is a magician in Chicago, and I took this during the magician's con that I shoot. And so in class, I talk about how I really like the green screen and everything, and I do. I love green screen. And it's taken me a while to get used to how to work with it and make it work right. Sometimes your selections aren't the greatest. So hopefully some of the pointers I give you will help you get really good selections. And you can take this outside of working just with green screen, and you can use these selection tips in a lot of different ways. It's not just against a solid backdrop. You can use this in any kind of thing you got to make a selection on. These selection tips will work. They just may not be as easy to do because the green screen's nice and solid. So it might take a little bit of practice, but I think some of these tips will really help with your selections, period. So anyway, first thing I want to do is I want to hit Control and J, and I want to copy. I don't always remember to do this, but it's always good to get in the habit of doing that so that you always have this backup that's untouched in case you mess up. You can just throw whatever you're playing with away, and then without having to undo everything. So we have this. So I showed you in class how we come over here, and the fourth tool down is what would be the magic wand and quick select. So I'm just holding down my left mouse key so that I can see what tools are in that toolbox there. And so I like the quick select much better than I do the magic wand. And remember that we can make our brush tip bigger or smaller. So I just kind of want small tip, and if I need to make a bigger selection, I can make it bigger. And I'm just going to drag this along the green, and it's going to detect the difference between Trent and the background. And so I can just kind of brush around him on the green, and it kind of selects him. So that made a pretty decent selection. It didn't get in here around his arm, so I'm going to make the brush much smaller, and I'm just going to kind of just click and drag, and then it makes the selection. And no matter what you're doing, the idea here is whether you're doing the changing the color, putting in textures, putting in a fake background, whatever you're wanting to do, the idea is we want to get a good selection around our subject. So what I need to do is, right now I have the background selected, so I want to go in up here to select, and I want to inverse that for just a minute so that it's nothing but Trent. So now I've got Trent selected. I'm going to come up here to the refine edge. This thing, I love this option. I love to refine edge. So you see we have our view here, and we can select different types of views. The first one I want to do is overlay, just so I get that orange, because that's a nice contrast to Trent, so I can kind of see where we have some issues. So down here in his pants, looks like a little bit here on his jacket, not totally perfect. I actually did a pretty good selection this time around his coat here. A lot of times when I make selections on this photograph, somehow I always wind up getting some of his jacket selected weirdly, and that's okay. So I'm going to start off with this overlay, and I'm going to come over to this tool. Remember, I click on that tool. That's going to give me this little brush, and you can make it a little bit bigger. And I want to go half on Trent, half on the background, and I just want to make a selection background and Trent. And what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that that edge is snapped against Trent really nice and tight. And if I messed up anything or made a bad selection like his pants down here, it's going to go back through and it's going to fix that bad selection. Well, it didn't fix that bad selection. That's awful. I don't like that. Let's go back over that again. See if we can't fix that. Oh, it doesn't want to fix it. We'll fix it. It's not a big deal. Especially hair. Hair is usually where you get like really bad selections. Sometimes people have fuzzy hair or stray hairs. Or if you're using this in a different capacity, maybe you're trying to select like tree limbs, things like that. Doing this refined edge really helps. Or if you're working with green screen, sometimes you just get a really bad selection for some reason. So I'm not happy about this thing with his pants, but that's okay. We'll try to fix it. And then I personally like to check it on black, because then I get a better idea. Okay, do I look like, does it look super cut out or not? Or do my edges look good? if I don't like my edges, don't forget you can come in here to the adjust edge and you can feather it in and out. Like if you pay attention, if I go really far to one end or the other, especially shift edge to the left shifts the edge in, and then if I take the shift edge and go out to the right, it shifts outward. You can see how it's kind of shifting that selection outward. So if you need to, maybe if you've got just a little bit of a bad selection, shift that edge in just a tad bit. You can nicely feather it or smooth it out a little bit so that it doesn't look so cut out. It looks a little softer. And then also don't forget, a lot of times when you do this with the green screen, this one's not too bad. Let me shift this out. Sometimes people complain that they get kind of this green halo around their subject, and that definitely does happen. Or sometimes you'll get some reflection of green on people's faces or their clothes. So don't forget to kind of take this, select the decontaminate colors, and shift that edge over so that it takes that halo out. It really does help. And then I always make sure I have new layer with mask so that if I need to go in and possibly maybe correct a couple things, I have a layer mask that I can go correct. So I'm going to hit OK here and let it do its magic. So see, now I make sure that I have something with a layer mask. So here I have Trent. And see where that the pants were kind of bugging me. If I go in, if I were to add like another backdrop or another layer underneath him to maybe put a backdrop in, so let's go put something in there. I can do gray, that'll work. See, he doesn't really look cut out because I kind of feathered my edges and decontaminated. He doesn't look cut out. If I were to put him on any kind of backdrop, if he did look cut out, that would be due to the fact that maybe the color, the lighting doesn't match, and I can tweak that. But a lot of people say, well, my subject looks cut out. Well, it's because your edges they look really blunt and cut out. So using that refined edge is like amazing because you can just really, like I said, feather your edge, shift it just a little bit one way or the other, and kind of give it a natural edge look like you would normally see. And even down here with this pants, if you notice, like if I take away the backdrop here, you notice that that's kind of just slightly transparent. That, I mean, honestly, only aids in making it look like it's like a reflection. So if you want to make something look kind of reflected, like we can come in and we can put in we'll put in a pink backdrop. So and change that, and it just looks like it's reflected on his pants. It doesn't look like his legs, half transparent. It just looks reflected. So like with the decontaminate colors, I don't know if you guys can notice, I noticed it up in his hair where we had like a little bit of reflection in the side of his head with the green. It just makes that, when you decontaminate it, what that actually does is it makes things just slightly transparent, and it just creates the illusion of a reflection. So that's pretty much what that does. So that's making selections on the backdrop. So if I were to possibly get my selection around Trent and then I wanted to go do something on my backdrop, you can always come back and do select and inverse it again to make it go back to the backdrop, and then do whatever you want to do to the backdrop. So, but that's making your selections using Refine Edge, and next up I will do a video showing how to use the adjustment layers to change colors.